everyone, welcome back to the Cloud Shack. This week we're going to chat about automation. Now you'll remember in one of our earlier episodes, one of the key reasons why we need to hyperconverge is, of course, we're trying to deploy applications at speed. And that's not just things like databases, it can be web applications, it can be core business applications. Obviously, the business is chasing us to deploy and manage these applications as quickly as possible. Agility is often the key word that's used. I'm joined again this week by my two data center colleagues, our gurus. So, gents, what do we need to think about when we're talking about automation? What's the key things that are on people's minds?
Well, the automation or orchestration is about repeating something with consistency. Mm-hmm. That's what people are after. And then from a serviceability perspective, how do you present that back to the business so IT don't get involved as well?
So is that where that thing called a blueprint comes in? And what is in a blueprint?
Yeah, so a blueprint or a workflow, depending on the phrasing you prefer, we call them blueprints, is about encapsulating an end service delivery, as you say, like a web application, whatever it might be, which would be made up of multiple components.
Right.
And once you have those multiple components mapped out, linked to each other with dependencies and grabbing all the information they need to become a single service, that's your workflow, that's your blueprint. And then you encapsulate that, put a stamp on it and say that's now done, and then you publish it to a portal. And then a business user can come along and just say, yeah, I want that, click it, and then it gets deployed.
Let's take a typical application. I imagine some of these blueprints are already, in many ways, there's a whole bunch of them made ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So with some of our alliance partners, we have pre-configured vendor-specific blueprints, and vendor-approved as well, that are available within the Nutanix marketplace. The Nutanix marketplace is part of Calm, and it enables end users to go and just literally point and click for an application they want to download.
Right.
And then you can rest assured that Nutanix have validated it and the partner itself is validated as well.
Right, so if I was going through this process, what would I need to do? What's the actual steps and process look like?
So, yeah, Prism Central is the key.
Right.
As we talked in our previous episode, we're logging into a single console. Flick to Calm from the menu.
Yep.
And there marketplace sits. And then all the abilities to start configuring and making these blueprints happen. All that single functionality still presented within that single web page as well.
Right.
It's taking that step back to simplicity. So Nutanix is all about simplicity. From Prism Central, from one click, you enable Calm. It automatically puts the pieces of the puzzle together for you. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to go and install anything. It does all of that for you. The marketplace becomes available, and then it encapsulates the entire application DNA within this blueprint that is not only available to deploy locally to your local clusters, but to multiple clouds as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about databases then, because that's in a way sometimes a little bit more complex. And I know Nutanix has another product that looks after the database element. What's that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Era is the product name that we have for database deployments. It's database as a service, I suppose, crudely speaking, is what we're doing here. We're grabbing databases and configuration, again, that's been proven against Nutanix and vendor kind of validated as well.
Right.
And we can deploy databases repeatedly.
Which databases are we talking about?
Oracle,
SQL, MySQL.
MySQL, Postgres as well.
So all the most common ones.
Yeah, definitely.
The most common ones, and then we've got some future ones onboarding in very quick sprints as well.
Okay.
So if we take a step back away from databases themselves as well and look at the entire application cycle, because all of that DNA for the application is within the blueprint, we can also do the lifecycle management through there as well. So from that same marketplace and the pre-configured blueprints, a user can go away and upgrade the certain elements of the application as well.
And I guess this doesn't just apply to private cloud. We can deploy at scale.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, we're not specifically just talking about virtual machines here. This is all containers, microservices as well. That's exactly where the world's all moving to. Yes, deploy at scale, of course. Yeah, and depending on how the application itself scales, it may even deploy more of its stuff natively itself. It depends on obviously what the vendor architecture is. And of course, from our perspective, if you don't deploy it to Nutanix on-prem, you might go to GCP or AWS or Azure. We support those cloud providers as well as hypervisors on-prem as well.
So I guess coming back to watching things like the application analytics and things like that, we can start to see when we have performance issues. I imagine if we need to deploy something on the other side of the world, we can do that.
Yeah, definitely so. And bringing in one of our other products, which is not mostly going to be part of this session, but we're able to look at some of the cloud governance as well, whether that's costing and security. We can play that back into application deployments. We can work out, is this the right location that it should be deployed on? We're all worried about data governance, aren't we? And data moving around the globe, and the cost elements as well. So we can make advice on where it should be. The
key thing to point out there as well, it's not a one-time thing. It's consistently monitoring and looking at patterns and trajectory to actually make real-time announcements to say, actually, you may have this in cloud A. Today, it's better to move it into cloud B.
Yeah. So automation at scale, done the way that I guess people really want to see and have been used to perhaps in a public cloud, now across all clouds. So that's it for our talk about automation. We hope you can join us for our next session, which is coming up soon. Hopefully you two gents will join us again.
We should try.
Great. Well, look forward to seeing you in our next session, and thanks for joining us.